30-kilometer radius from Johannesburg. Okay. And they are linked into Johannesburg via highways, via railway lines, and via the taxi transport, this public transport system. And in between each suburb and Johannesburg, you've got miniature settlements in between. Okay. And these miniature settlements are linked all the way to Johannesburg by the very same highways, railway lines, and taxi infrastructure. Now, on each and every one of these settlements, there's a state-owned shopping center. Extremely underserviced in terms of facilities management upkeep, poorly managed, and loss-making, highly dilapidated, but still in good fucking locations. Simply because they are state-owned enterprises, they don't know what they're doing. And besides, you find that most of the state-owned enterprises, their core function is logistics. Their core function is utilities. But by virtue of, I don't know who decided, they must have property investments. So this particular state-owned enterprise is a train and logistics enterprise. It's called Transnet. And it's got a subsidiary that's called Transnet Properties. Transnet Properties, over time, developed these shopping centers. At the moment, they are busy messing them up. They are all loss-making. However, they've got good locations. And not just good locations, but also they've got good land next to them for growth. You find that a shopping center would have, for instance, this would be a highway, this would be a railway line, and the shopping center would be here. And they own all of this land here. Right? And the railway train station.
So the government, state actually owns it.
Invested, yes. Built them and tried to run them, but they're running them to the ground at the moment. So I've approached that state-owned enterprises because the biggest issue that they have at the moment is that they are on a recapitalization process. They need money. And to get that money, the property subsidiaries, they have to dispose. Now, we are coming in, and the disposal process can be quite a laborious exercise, but what I'm saying to them is, let's do a co-development type of a structure. They will take 40%, I'll take 60%. And both of us will go raise finance. Mind you, in-house, they have the tenant base, which is what I need to raise finance. And so many times, various tenants, retail tenants, a combination of retail, hardware, all those type of tenants, fashion tenants, bank tenants, and all, have approached them to say, look, can we fix these shopping centers for you? But they're coming on an individual basis, so they're not interested. Now that I have made an approach, they've given me a list of about 8 of these. I have the numbers on my laptop. I will project them on the screen there. Okay. And you will see how they're making losses. I've taken one of the 8. We've done a proposal. I will show you as well how it looks, and you will see how the numbers stack up going forward, and you will see how it's going to look from what it looks at the moment to what it will be going forward. So what I've done, I've had to sign a co-development agreement with the state enterprise. That is done already, and we've put together a concept of how it's going to look going forward, times by 8. We had to do one to show them, if we start with 1, this is how it's going to look, this is how it's going to cost, this is how it will be, the asset will look going forward, and this is how much it will generate, and this would be your portion of that, which is the 40%. So I'll take you through that.
Okay, now, and this finance you're going to get, the 40% is going to get financed, the 60%, which is you, is going to get financed, yes. And this is going to be debt finance.
It's going to be debt finance, but this is what they're saying. They will refer me to one of the state-owned financial institutions.
Non-recourse.
Non-recourse. Because now that state-owned financial institution will say, oh, you're partnering with one of our subsidiaries, then let's do.
Now, why, when we first talked about this and you're at the regular seminar, why aren't there 100 of you doing this?
It's because none of them attend the QLA program.
I know I'm one of the smartest guys on the planet, but there's got to be, other than you, is there anybody smart in South Africa?
There are, but they don't see the opportunities.
Because what I said there, every place there's opportunities.
Yes.
You fly over, you drive down the road, they're all over the place.
If you remember in one of my first reports, when I came back and I sent a question to ask you, don't you think maybe I should, based on the knowledge that I've received here on the first seminar, maybe I should relocate to either Europe or UK?
And I said?
And you said, fuck no.
Correct.
There are opportunities there.
I mean...
look at the Pan-African strategy instead. That's what you said.
And
so I started looking at things slightly differently from then on, and it all started falling apart. I mean, started connecting the dots.
Alex, you have something to say?
I was going to say, you said, why aren't there 100 of him? I said, even in my own area industry, there's opportunity. And people say, oh, that's great. I can't do it. I'm busy. Too much work. Usually it's too much work. Or it's not for me. It's just something. It's just something.
Most people don't even want to work on a Saturday.
Most people don't want to work Monday through Friday.
Yeah, they don't work Monday through Friday. Thank you.
If we had a digital screen here,
or past
connected everything in a project.
I understand.
See.
Well, I mean,
So now going forward on my side is to put together that portfolio, redevelop it, buy out the state-owned enterprise because they need cash injection, put it together as a portfolio, list it, and further develop that, and extend the train station, extend the taxi stations, give access to the highway. Then the numbers fucking change completely. But I'm not going to do that while I'm still hooked to them at 40%.
No, well, I mean, it makes sense. It's like I told you in your weekly report months ago. The opportunities in places like South Africa are overwhelming. If you look at it through a different set of glasses.
It boils down to this one thing, what you said the previous time, because I really got to think about it. Yes, your Mandelas and them came in and brought in democracy, but they fucked up the economy. They really fucked up the economy because they have a socialist agenda, you see, but you connected to the global markets. You just have to act the part, and opening it up like that. I mean, they really ran down this thing. Mind you, this is just retail. There's harbors that need this. There's airports that need this.
Well, everything needs. Yeah. I mean, the entire infrastructure of the country is 50, 60 years behind or more. And the guys after World War II and the Marshall Plan that rebuilt Europe, and they went into Poland and all these countries, and some of them were state developed, and you get the money from the government, and same concept, and rebuilt a good portion of Europe based on the same thing with Japan. When they rebuilt Japan after World War II. And there are places in the world, and you're right, you mentioned it yet last night when we were going over that other case, talked about the World Bank and International Monetary Fund, and the world is flush with cash. I mean, it's just super flush with cash.
And another part is that you can swim up the stream as well and go directly to the state-owned enterprise, because at the moment they're really underperforming, and government needs a contribution to its fiscus because that's what they're supposed to be made for that, but they're really underperforming. So there's a little bit of underlying discussions about potential privatizations at the moment.
And that'll be the next twist.
Yes.
As it was in this country 30 years ago when Mrs. Thatcher started privatizing. And that opens up a whole other spectrum of investment. Yeah. Well, good.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks.
Good. Any questions while I'm here?
Can't think of any.
It seems to me, Mr. Peña, that obviously there's a different, I don't want to say strategy because that's kind of not a misnomer now, but a different approach depending on if you're in an economy that's being redeveloped versus an economy that's more matured. There's going to be a different approach.
Well, but they're still fragmented industries.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just at different levels of economic development. Ground zero, more or less, here. Or it was ground zero when they did it, and then they ran it in the ground.
Yes.
So it's, in some cases, below ground zero.
Yes.
And then there's ground zero in various parts of the United States and Canada, where they haven't run it into the ground. But I mean, and as I pointed out, it's just not mom and pop motivated seller. Governments are motivated sellers. Private equity are motivated sellers. And whereas the average Joe doesn't look at a government being a motivated seller. And
to talk about that, especially the private equity guys, there's a private equity firm that I'm talking to at the moment. They own 2 agricultural mills, and what you were saying that they're the tail end of exit, and now they're coming to us. They say we have 2 years left of this. Would you want to buy it? When I look at this, I'm like, the EBITDA multiple here, guys, is 9%. There's no fucking way I want to do this, unless you're gonna drop the selling price and you are going to do owner finance type of structure. So I've sent that email to them, and so I'm waiting for a response.
yeah.
But like Anelli's calculus is way different than Dr. John's calculus. Like his approach, his mindset, his deal flow looks completely different. It's not better or worse. It's just a different calculus.
Well, he's dealing with governments, and John's not.
Yeah.
John's dealing with the tatter end of a private equity investment that's gone wrong.
Right.
Now, this has gone wrong, not from private equity, it just was mismanaged,
Extremely.
and the assets are worth a lot less.
Yes.
But I mean, in John's case, the assets in 1 month dropped
That's
50%. I mean, so the end product's the same.
mm-hmm.
And in his case, in Ellie's case, the government will help you finance it, okay? In John's case, the private equity firm with its debt arm is going to help you finance it, so it's the same result. And most people don't understand. They think you just, Arby and Margaret Smith that own something that are motivated sellers. But motivated sellers is from A to Z. I mean, it's across the spectrum, including governments.
Yes.
And you're dealing with big governments, but I mean, municipalities
Yes.
are motivated sellers. This council that we're sitting in the middle of here is a motivated seller. It's built things that haven't worked out. So, I mean,
But the horsepower that he's going to bring, the horsepower that John brings, isn't only. I mean, he has a bunch of deals under his belt now, but it's his board, and they're looking at that collective and saying, okay, we look at this group based on the acumen, et cetera, et cetera. We trust that they're gonna bring the ball further than it's been, at its current, a status quo.
yeah. When you come into an investment universe with different parameters and and you'll remember you're never going to exceed your most wild expectation. The guys that are working in this thing right now don't have any wild expectation. They don't have any expectation other than they're living hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck.
Extremely frustrated. Even the portfolio managers, the guys that I'm talking to, they don't even want to go the times. They spend like 3 to 5 months and not even go to any of these retail outlets because they so how can I put it? There's no motivation.
Yeah. There's no vision either.
There's no vision. I mean, and there's no know-how as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of
typical civil servant, highly inefficient, versus a private sector player. So I'm milking off that now. Those.
Okay, we'll talk about it after lunch.